How's it going, donuts? Today we're talking about leverage. Leverage is the ability to turn a small amount of money into a lot amount of money. A big pile of cash. Big pile of cash. We're talking about in the money versus out of the money. What provides more leverage? You might be thinking, oh, Adam, you stupid idiot. Out of the money provides more leverage. Duh. I see on Wall Street bets all the time people turning $1,000 into $100,000 using out of the money options. Well, you're going to be surprised that it's a little bit more nuanced than that. So why don't you just keep your pants on for just 1 second, okay, Sonny? And we're going to compare two options. One's out of the money, one's in the money. They're very real as of yesterday on AMD. And we'll see what provides more leverage, when, where, and why. Okay, sound good? Let's dive in. So on the left-hand side here, you can see we have an out of the money option. You can tell because it has a 300 strike, which is above the price of AMD of 181. On the right-hand side, we have an in the money option. You can tell because it has a lower strike of 150. It's lower than the current share price of 181. That makes it in the money. I've very conveniently written out of the money up top and in the money up top, so you just don't forget. Okay. Let's look at the delta of each option. The delta is going to help us get some insight into the leverage of each option. So on the left-hand side, on the out of the money option, we have a delta of 0.02. What does that mean? That means for every time that the stock price goes up by $1, I put the dollar sign weird, this is going to go up by 2. It works in the inverse as well. If the stock price goes down by $1, this is going to go down by 2. That's the way delta works. Now, delta is kind of a GIMP to gamma. Gamma will change delta depending on how in the money versus out of the money it is. But for now, we're looking at a static picture so that we can just compare the two directly. On the right-hand side, on the in the money option, we have a delta of 0.88. That means that for every time the stock price goes up by $1, we're going to make $88. Okay? The exact opposite is true again. If the stock price goes down by $1, we are going to lose $88. Sorry for my scribbly handwriting. Okay, so actually, when you look at the two, when you compare the two directly, which has more leverage? The one that goes up $88 right here, or the one that goes up by $2? It's the one that goes up by $88. So that means that in the money options have more leverage. More leverage. But that's not true all of the time. So sometimes. So why do I say sometimes? Well, because this premium is really expensive. This premium is not so expensive. So this out of the money option right here, this costs $20. This one costs $3,460. Why is this one so freaking expensive? Well, it's because of the fact that it's deep in the money. It's going to have a lot of intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is whatever you can exercise it for. So if you think about it, if the stock is trading at $100 and I have a strike of 90, that means I could exercise the option, buy 100 at 90, and then sell it at $100 and make $10 per share. So I'd make $1,000. Jeez, $1,000. So that $1,000 is going to be baked into the price of the option. It's going to be called intrinsic value. That way, you're not getting free money. Otherwise, you could just buy the option and then exercise it, buy at 90, sell at 100, make a quick $1,000. But no, when you buy the option and exercise it and do that, you're giving up the full value of the option. So you're going to be giving up intrinsic value, which would be leaving you at net zero, maybe break even. But then you're also giving up extrinsic value, which has to do with time and volatility. So you're going to actually be at a loss. So anyway, let's not get out too far off on a tangent here, but that's just why it's so expensive. So why do people always say that out of the money options have more leverage? Well, it's because you can buy a bunch of out of the money options that are equal to the same value of the one that's in the money. So for example, let's take a look at 3,460. Okay, that's the price of the in the money option. Divide that by $20. That's the price of the out of the money option, right? That's going to equal 173 contracts. So I can buy 173 contracts, and that's going to equal 3,460. So if I buy, let's erase some of this garbage. If I buy 173 of these call options that are out of the money, it's going to equal 20 times 173 is going to equal $3,460. $3,460. So now we're on the same page. Now the out of the money options, even though I have 173 contracts, equals 3,460 versus the in the money option that is one contract worth the same amount of 3,460. So 173 contracts, I'll put a C there, versus one contract, but they're the exact same value. Now, since we've increased the amount of contracts we have to multiply delta by that. So we'll do 0.02 times 173, which gives us a delta of 3.46. Over here, we still carry down the same amount. Nothing's changed. We still have one contract, so the delta is still 0.88. So this means on the left-hand side, for the out of the money option, where we bought 173 contracts, right? This is going to mean that every time that the stock price goes up by $1, I keep putting the dollar sign in the weird spot. Every time it goes up by $1, this is going to go up by $346. Over here, if it goes up by $1, you're going to, I keep doing it again. Jeez, good Lord. Have mercy on my soul, I'm sorry. If it goes up by $1, you're going to make $88. So which has more leverage now? Well, this is where the sometimes comes in. In the money have more leverage sometimes, because now out of the money has more leverage sometimes. Okay, so it depends on how many contracts you buy. So you buy a bunch of out of the money contracts that are equal to the same value as one in the money contract, you have a ton more leverage. This is way more. That is also a double-edged sword, because like I said before, if it goes down by $1, this is going to go down by $346, while this is only going to go down by $88. Okay? What's the problem with this, though? Because you might be thinking, well, great, I want leverage. This is awesome. Well, the problem with buying a bunch of out-of-the-money options is they're incredibly risky. I'm going to erase all this. If you look at what your break-even is, which is strike price plus premium paid, they're going to have a much higher break-even because their strike price is much higher. In the money options are going to have a much lower break-even because their strike price is much lower. So what the break-even for an out-of-the-money option is going to look like is kind of disgusting. So this is expiration over here, right? And this would be profit, so P&L. It's going to go like this, where your break-even at expiration, sorry it's not at the very end of the graph there, is going to be extremely high. For in-the-money options, it's going to look more like this, where your break-even is very low. And especially in this 30 to 45 day range, it's going to exponentially increase. The leverage is great for, making a lot of money, but it's also incredibly risky because out-of-the-money options have such high break-evens due to the fact that their strike price is much higher than in-the-money options. Okay, so does that clear things up for you? So if you want to make a ton of money on out-of-the-money options and you buy a bunch of them, the stock price has to move relatively quickly. Otherwise, what happens is theta, the time decay portion of options, is going to start eating away at the value of your out-of-the-money options quite quickly because they are comprised of completely extrinsic value. They have no intrinsic value. You can't exercise a 110 call and then sell it at 100 and make money. You'd lose $1,000. So they're completely made up of time value and volatility combined together, which is called extrinsic value. So there you have it. In the money options have more leverage sometimes. Out of the money options have more leverage sometimes. Why do you think this channel is called In the Money? It's because in the money options still provide quite a substantial amount of leverage. I mean, 0.88, what we're talking about, is pretty close to the equivalent of holding 100 shares. It's the equivalent of holding 88 shares. So it provides a lot of leverage, but you also have a low break even. Granted, you're risking more than one individual out of the money option, but you're going to make more money if you're buying one. If you're comparing one to one in the money versus one out of the money. But if you buy a bunch of out of the money options and things move quickly, you can make way more money than in the money options. However, when I'm trading, I usually buy leap options, which are options that expire way out in the future and have a very low break even. If you have any questions, you can join my Patreon in the description below in the Linktree link and ask me directly. You can DM me there. Otherwise, have a great day and peace the out. Deuces.